Hello, I'm Charles and I'm a beekeeper that loves old beekeeping equipment. And today we're going to discuss capturing ground swarms. I had a lovely example of one today and a lovely example of things that can go wrong with capturing a ground swarm. Ground swarms are when the swarm just lands on the ground. Simple as that. They can land in the grass, they can be on cement, they can be on asphalt. It is not where swarms prefer to be, and it's usually an indicator that there's something wrong. Maybe that queen is injured. Maybe she has some frayed wings. Maybe she's dead. Sometimes you'll find a dead queen. They're not the most common, however. I've probably only caught about 6 or 7 of them in the last 8 years out of the many, many swarms I have captured. I used to hate them because they were difficult to try to scoop up in high grass and stuff like that. Well, I found that if you just use a little bit of bait, they'll walk right into the box, either some lemongrass or Swarm Commander, uh, and it's extremely simple to get them usually. But you'll see that there's a few catches with this one. And here we have a swarm that is a ground swarm. This is what happens when they land and they cluster on the ground for whatever reason. Looking around, there's no big tree that they fell from above us or anything. So it looks like they just landed here, and they may do that for a few reasons, but none of them are good. It traditionally is not a great thing when they do. It looks like they're a little cold, so they're kind of clustering a little bit, and they're actually probably pretty starved. We want to keep 3 things in mind uh, when we go and pick up a ground swarm like this. The first one is that, a dustpan or a brush, or even picking it up with a gloved hand, that's probably going to kill more bees than it's going to recover. I've scooped some up with a business card to try to get them going, something that was very, very soft. But when they're in the grass, it's just not happening. On top of it, in this particular case, the ground was below 50 degrees, even though it was a 55-degree day. So because it was so cold and cool, they didn't want to break cluster. They just want to stay there and cluster together, and they kind of act dead, like they're not moving. They kind of stay in that little hibernate state. I had to breathe on them and warm them up to get them moving. I had to lean over and blow on them and just make deep breaths like that. And I could actually get them to start kind of waking up and going. And the most important thing to remember is this typically means when they're on the ground, there's something wrong with that queen. Um, Maybe she has a frayed wing. Maybe she's dead. Maybe she's not even there. Um, in these scenarios, if you don't have a queen or she's dead, well, you're going to have to use some type of lure to get them to go into the box. Lemongrass or Swarm Commander will do that because if you don't have a queen to put in that box, you're not getting them to march into it. So bait might be your only chance. This is a ground swarm from last season that I caught. They had a queen with frayed wings, so they were just there on the ground. This is how they act in normal temperatures. They move around, and you're going to see that they'll just march into the box if you have a little bit of lemongrass in it. This is a tactic from Kim and Mike Mahalik. They'll take old brood comb in a frame, set it on the ground, and they'll just climb right up on the frame. Now this tells you how long they were here. They literally started building comb on the ground and propolising the leaves. Once again, I have to kind of watch the entrance here. And one thing the heat did is they're actually starting to signal. The ones that are doing that twerking motion are letting off Nazinov to talk to the others. So we're in good shape here. I sat and watched as they marched in, and I really don't think there's a queen in this hive. Because of that, I'm probably going to check on it in 4 days. If I don't see any laying in any of these cells, what I'm going to do is put some open brood in there with eggs, and they can make themselves a queen from there. And under the limited chance that maybe they are a virgin swarm or a caste swarm, if they don't make cells, that tells me then they have a virgin queen. But I suspect these guys just aren't queen right. I'm back a couple hours later, and I'm getting them to move again. But this time we're trying smoke to do it, and they're responding. This is working pretty well too, but it's really hard to just get a march going with them. Even with the lemongrass in the box, like some respond, some don't. But they are marching again. And we got about 80% of the hive in here. I want a little bit more though before I go. I know whoever I leave out here is going to freeze to death tonight. So it's better to just give them a little extra smoke and get them going. The more I look at the situation, the more I'm almost certain that this is an abscond from the land that was just cleared in the last few days, and this tree falling. Like there's an abscond in here somewhere. I'm actually now more betting across the street where they're timbering it, just a couple hundred meters away, that these guys were rendered homeless by a tree being taken down. I don't think they have a queen. They do respond to Nasinoff. It should be to lemongrass, thinking it's Nasinoff, and we're signaling a little bit, but they seem content to die. They're gonna get a fresh feeder tonight because they are starved, and we're also going to give them some brood tomorrow morning and see what they do with it. I'm gonna give them a little bit more smoke, try to drive them in. Like the smoke is working pretty effectively, but the problem is with smoke, it blocks the Nasinoff in the air. Like I have a very stubborn clump right here, which I hoped, okay, maybe there's a queen, and kind of diddled in there and tried to see what was up, but nope, that's not the issue either. They just don't really have the strength to climb up there. I've done a little scooping with a business card, but I think we've done most of what we can for them. I think the big takeaway for me today is that if I didn't have some type of bait, lemongrass or swarm commander, then I just wouldn't have gotten these guys in the box. There was no scooping them. There was no way of getting them to cooperate with just smoke. So that was the only way I was going to get these guys in. I would recommend that all beekeepers that go out and catch swarms have some lemongrass on hand. You'll have that bottle for years, I assure you. And a little goes a long way. It doesn't hurt to put a couple drops in the box that you're about to shake them into, because they'll just march the rest of the way themselves, whether the queen is in the box or not. It can't hurt you to use it.